After waking up from a nap, I found myself transmigrated into an ABO world with my arch enemy. Good news. I'm an alpha and he's an omega. Bad news. Both of us are in heat. At this moment, the narrow cave is filled with the smell of pheromones. Lucas has a flush on his cold face. His eyes are moist, and there is a fluffy little tail behind him. Why is he a bit cute? I want to pet him. Sensing my gaze, Lucas lowers his eyes and says hoarsely, "Keep your eyes in check." What a chaste and indignant look he has. Telling me to keep my eyes in check? I won't. Since we've transmigrated into an ABO world, am I still afraid of you? Not only will I look at you, but I'll also touch you all over. I let out a sly laugh and reach out to touch his rabbit ears. Who would have thought that our cold-faced campus heartthrob would transmigrate into a rabbit spirit? The pheromones are so strong. Let me smell them. The rabbit ears feel soft and smooth in my palm. Coupled with Lucas' current expression, he looks inexplicably obedient. There is a smell of red wine in the air. It's a bit high class. I sniff carefully and my face changes. Hey, since you've transmigrated into a little omega, why do you have the pheromone smell of red wine? Shouldn't little omegas be soft and sweet, with the smell of milk candies? Lucas looks strange. Are you talking about yourself? Lucas takes a light breath, hooks his lips vengefully, and says word by word, "I'm saying that your pheromone smells like milk candies. By the way, it's strawberry milk candy. An A with a milk candy scent? Who? Me?" I looked all around the narrow cave and made sure there was no third person before reluctantly accepting the fact. What a painful realization. I'm almost furious from embarrassment. Apart from annoyance, the strong pheromones in the air are making me extremely angry. When I looked down, I saw something between my legs had awakened. Just then, Lucas also looked over. In the ABO world, what are the ways to deal with the heat period again? It seems to be called temporary marking and permanent marking. I gritted my teeth and my gaze wandered over Lucas's neck. Where would be a good place to mark? The back of the neck? The collarbone? The Adam's apple? Lucas sensed my thoughts and with a cold face, said, "Don't even think about it." I waved my hand and said, "Come on, don't be so old-fashioned. We're all new era youths with advanced ideas. Just think of the marking as a mosquito bite." Lucas still wasn't willing. But at this moment, relying on the natural physical strength advantage of an A over an O, I easily pushed him down. I leaned over and took a bite on the back of his neck. The closer I got, the stronger the smell of red wine became. I was almost out of my mind. Instinct drove me to continue kissing the person beneath me. The next second, I was kicked off by Lucas, with a cold look on his face. His thin lips were pursed into a straight line. "Andrew, you're crazy." The blush on his face faded, and he returned to his cold and aloof appearance. On the contrary, I still felt extremely hot and my irritation hadn't subsided at all. I felt like crying because of the swelling thing between my legs. Why am I still in such a state after marking Lucas? I suppressed myself with my last bit of reason and reluctantly asked Lucas for help. "Why am I still feeling so uncomfortable?" Lucas looked at me and sneered. "It's normal to feel uncomfortable. Temporary marking is a way to solve my heat. As for you, you can only use inhibitors or find an omega to sleep with." I fell silent. There were no inhibitors in this desolate place. Find an omega to sleep with? Who? Lucas? If I really dared to make a move on him, he would cut off my thing right away. I hugged my head painfully and wanted to cry. Lucas stretched out his slender hand and grabbed the back of my collar, pulling me out of the cave. The wind blew and the strong pheromones dissipated a bit. I felt a little better and let out a long sigh of relief. When I looked up, I caught sight of Lucas's nape again. There were several blushing marks on his fair and delicate skin, which were particularly eye-catching. Coupled with Lucas's noble face, it inexplicably had a hint of sensuality. I unconsciously licked my lips and wanted to take another bite. Realizing what I was thinking, I hugged my head again. I'm really a straight guy. Damn ABO, damn heat period. Lucas took me down the mountain with his strong sense of direction, found a hospital, and bought me an inhibitor. I watched him take out his phone from his pocket to pay, and I also rummaged through my own pocket. When I opened my balance, it showed 0.18. I peeked at Lucas's and there were a series of numbers that I couldn't even count. Even after time traveling, why is there still such a disparity? Lucas found his apartment according to the shipping address in his shopping app on the phone. Homeless as I was, I shamelessly followed behind him. Lucas, please take me in for the sake of being from the same hometown. Lucas didn't say no, so I quickly entered the house. Although I used the inhibitor, I still felt uncomfortable. I slumped on the bed like a dead dog and thought about what to do next. Lucas came to call me for dinner. As soon as he entered the room, he frowned and said, "Andrew, can you control your pheromones?" I said aggrievedly, "I want to, but there's nothing I can do." I got up and got closer to Lucas and I felt a little better. "Lucas, can I sleep with you in my arms tonight?" Lucas's rabbit ears twitched and he flatly refused, "No." I looked at him pitifully and said, "But I really feel awful. Are you trying to act coquettishly with me?" I coughed awkwardly and replied, "Sort of." I was really feeling so bad that I could only feel better by getting closer to Lucas. "Let's put aside matters of face for now." Lucas turned around without saying yes or no. "Let's have dinner first and talk about it later." I didn't care when we talk about it. After taking a shower, I lay down on his bed. Lucas walked in, his expression froze for a moment, seemingly a bit speechless towards me. I said righteously, "I gave you a temporary mark. As a matter of reciprocity, you should help me too." Lucas was helpless. Under my moral coercion, he didn't resist much when I cuddled and hugged him. In the middle of the night, smelling his scent, I became even more sleepless. "Lucas, you smell so good." "Lucas, your lips look so kissable." "Lucas, is it cold inside your body? I have something warm. Let me warm you up." Lucas gritted his teeth and said, "Andrew, don't push your luck." To prevent me from doing something beastly to him when I was idle at home every day, Lucas arranged a job for me. He had numerous companies under his control and found me one that was the closest. Every day when I got up and went out, I just had to turn left and cross the road to get there. After signing a salary agreement of 50,000 yuan a month, I happily started working. As a result, on the first day, as soon as I arrived at the company, someone wanted to harass me. "You look delicious." A tall and muscular man blocked my way. As he said this, he even licked his lips. "No, buddy, in this era, can men also encounter sexual harassment?" I tried to explain. "I'm an alpha." He leered at me. "Really? I didn't notice that. But an AA combination is also okay. I don't mind. You look delicious and just to my taste." As he said that, he tried to touch me all over. I was shocked and said, "No, there's no future for us." The lecherous man didn't care at all. He even released his pheromones to harass me. I was choked by a smell of cumin mixed with stench and started coughing. "Is this your pheromone? It's more like body odor. Get out. Stay away from me." Due to the emotional fluctuations, my pheromones, which I hadn't learned to control yet, escaped. The smell of milk candy dispelled some of the lingering cumin smell. The lecherous man took a couple of deep sniffs. "Are you trying to seduce me?" As he said that, he licked his lips and puckered up to kiss me. "Are you crazy?" I finally realized how excessive I was to Lucas yesterday. How disgusting. While on the verge of a breakdown, I resorted to the martial arts I learned a few years ago and punched him twice. "Get out." The sleazy man wiped the bleeding corner of his mouth with his thumb. I thought he would give up, but instead, he gave a lewd smile and said, "So exciting, pretty girl. Hit me 2 more times, sis." Beating him actually excited him. I really wanted to slap him, but I was afraid he'd lick my hand. Reasoning didn't work, and beating him was useless either. Out of options, I brought up Lucas. "I'm in a relationship with your Mr. Lucas." The sleazy man thought he misheard and dug his ears. "What? Mr. Lucas?" He sized me up and scoffed. "If you're with Mr. Lucas, then I'm Mr. Lucas's father." Such a familiar line of arrogance. Could I have encountered a stupid male side character? He continued, "I'm a supervisor and have worked at the Shin Group for 3 years, and I've never seen Mr. Lucas. You claim to be his partner right off the bat. You've got a big mouth. If you were Lucas's alpha, would he let you work at the front desk? At the very least, he'd assign you a few companies to manage, right? You're not making up stories just because this is a branch office and Lucas doesn't come here often, are you? Damn it. What's wrong with working at the front desk? What did the front desk staff ever do to you? Lucas actually wanted to assign me a few companies to manage, but why would I agree? Is it really that great to get up early and stay up late to approve documents every day? Being a receptionist, slacking off all day and still getting $50,000 a month. That's the real deal. I took out the contract I just signed this morning and showed it to him. I get $50,000 a month. Have you ever seen anyone without connections getting that much? He leaned over and took a look. It's fake. If you get $50,000 a month, then I should get $100,000. It's really hard to reason with this stupid male supporting character. I called Lucas. His secretary answered and said he was in a meeting. With a blank face, I said, "Then please tell him that if he doesn't come, his fellow townsman is going to be violated in the branch office." As I spoke, I kicked the lecherous man who was approaching me. "Get lost. Don't you have anything better to do? You've done nothing all morning but think about having sex with me?" By the time Lucas arrived, the lecherous man had already torn off my outer coat. I resisted, but he was stronger than me. When I hit him, he didn't feel any pain. Instead, he even shouted that it felt good after being hit a few times. Lying there in despair, I looked at Lucas as he came in, with tears in my eyes. "Save me." Lucas looked cold-faced and directly grabbed the man off me. However, this man was already driven by desire and didn't show any restraint when he saw Lucas. Where did this little Omega come from? So spicy. I like it. He turned to me, saying disgustedly, "You've overdone the whole playing hard to get thing. Now I don't want you anymore. I've taken a fancy to him." Me? Oh, so what if you've taken a fancy to him? It's not like you can have your way just because you like someone. He ignored me and focused all his attention on Lucas. "I just like strong little Omegas like you. Come on, overpower me." Lucas coldly slapped him across the face. I didn't even have time to stop him. Don't slap him, he'll enjoy it." Sure enough, the next second, the muscle-bound man showed an ecstatic expression. "So good. The hands of a little Omega are really different, soft and fragrant. I love it so much." Lucas didn't tolerate the lecherous man. Since the man said he enjoyed it, Lucas slapped him one after another, until he beat the man's face into a pulp and made him drool. Lucas is always well behaved and rarely gets angry, but now his face darkened completely and his eyes were as cold as ice. Still enjoying it? The man with the swollen face covered it and cried like a boiling kettle. Not enjoying it anymore. Not enjoying it anymore. I'll never dare to enjoy it again. I couldn't bear to watch. Lucas' hands had distinct knuckles, and the veins on the back of his hands clearly showed his strength. His hands were big. It goes without saying that his slaps would be very powerful and painful. That stupid man even said they were soft and fragrant. He must be blind. I was having wild thoughts while listening to the man's howls. Lucas' hands were so big and powerful. It would probably hurt a lot if he slapped someone on the butt, right? No, what am I thinking? Oh no, I've only been in this world for 2 days. Am I going to be assimilated? After Lucas finished slapping the man, he looked back at me with a fake smile. "What about you? Do you want to have a taste of it?" I quickly shook my head and said, "I wouldn't dare. I wouldn't dare." "Lucas, then what are you still looking at? Grab your stuff and come with me. I'll deal with you later tonight." "Deal with me? How?" I hesitated for a moment and Lucas noticed. He gave a cold laugh. His voice was clear and his tone was menacing. "Andrew, do you know that there's a chance for an Omega to mutate into an Alpha? Don't you want to do that kind of thing? I'll try it with you tonight. If you dare to run away, I'll break your legs and lock you directly in bed." I don't know what Lucas has been through. Why is he talking about mutating into an Alpha after just one morning apart? Remembering my excessive actions towards him last night, combined with what the lecherous man said and did today, I felt uneasy. Is Lucas really going to do it? Originally, he and I were rivals. We bickered every day at school and occasionally got into fights. However, this guy always looked indifferent to everything. I was always the one getting angry with him. Except for yesterday when I first arrived in this world and, relying on being an alpha, gave him a temporary mark. In other conflicts, he usually won. I quietly glanced at Lucas' expression and smiled obsequiously. Lucas, it was just that one time yesterday. Even if you're still angry, you don't have to fuck me, do you? We're both guys, you know? Look at this mess. Lucas parted his thin lips slightly with a sneering look on his face. Now you realize we're both guys. Why didn't you say that when you harassed me last night? Well, I was just venting my anger and didn't think about the consequences. I won't dare to do it again. I was almost crying inside, but my dignity wouldn't allow me to be so cowardly in front of my rival. So I kept a straight face and followed Lucas to the head office. When the people in the company saw me coming in with Lucas, they couldn't help but size me up. There was a particularly malicious look. I'm very sensitive to malice, so I locked onto it at a glance. It was a very handsome young man. He looked very petite and his body was as delicate as water. When I looked over, the malice in his rabbit-like eyes disappeared completely and they instantly regained their clarity. He was holding a document in his hand and offered it to Lucas. Mr. Lucas, where have you been? Mr. Oliver is still waiting. Is this the fellow townsman you mentioned on the phone? Mr. Lucas, he seems of low status and his spiritual power level is also very low. You better stay away from such a person. Lucas spoke in a calm voice, but his words revealed a bit of displeasure. Secretary Henry, you talk too much. My private affairs are not for you to interfere in. Great. That's the way to do it. It should be so straightforward. He's crazy. He's trying to sow discord at the first meeting. Can your relationship with Lucas compare with mine? Wait, what kind of relationship do I have with him? The kind where we quarrel all day? I suddenly felt panicked. No, when did Lucas become so tolerant of me and even speak up for me? Has he also been influenced by this world and developed feelings for me? Everyone witnessed Lucas scolding Secretary Henry and no one dared to point fingers at me anymore. With a heavy heart, I followed him into the office. Lucas also seemed a bit irritated and loosened his tie. There's a room inside. Go and rest. Did he go through so much trouble to bring me here just for me to rest? Seeing that I didn't move, he rubbed the space between his eyebrows and asked, What's wrong? Didn't you sleep well last night? I tugged at the corner of my clothes and said coyly, Why are you suddenly being so nice to me? Please, don't say it's because you're lusting after my body. I'm really a straight guy and don't want to have a same-sex relationship. Lucas straightened his lips and said emotionlessly, I have official business to handle. You being here affects my work efficiency. So he just thought I was in the way. Why do I feel a bit disappointed? Lucas stared at me for 2 seconds with a half smile. Don't you always advocate lying flat? Why do you still ask for the reason when I tell you to go and rest this time? Or do you not want to sleep and want to have something happen with me here? I fled in a hurry. That brute, Lucas, still talks as venomously as ever. I hate the way he can so easily toy with me. Pushing open the hidden door, there was a double bed inside. Through the floor-to-ceiling window, one could directly see the traffic outside the high-rise building. It's so suitable for window side play. My brain, what are you thinking about again? I slapped my head hard twice, trying to pour out the dirty and lewd thoughts and nonsense inside. I used too much force and felt a bit dizzy. I plopped down on the bed in a position with my butt sticking up. Lucas pushed the door open and came in, still holding snacks and fruits he had prepared for me. After seeing me in this position, he was silent for a moment. It seems that you really want to have something happen with me. I quickly covered my butt. No, I just didn't stand firmly. I just took an inhibitor yesterday. It won't be in heat so soon. Lucas put his hand on his forehead. Before saying this, can you take in your pungent pheromones first? I made a bitter face. It's not that I don't want to take them in. I really don't know how. Lucas put down the things, walked towards me, and poked my forehead with his slightly cool fingers. Control it with this, not. As he said, his hand moved down and pinched my penis in an instant. Not with this. I got a shock and stepped back suddenly. As a result, it was still in his hand. With a sudden tug, I grimaced in pain. Lucas let go of his hand calmly. If it stands up to me next time, I'll cut it off. Under Lucas' threat, I quickly learned to control my pheromones. The speed was as fast as a rocket. One should not bite the hand that feeds one. Moreover, I was still living in Lucas' house. I corrected my attitude and no longer regarded him as a mortal enemy. Lucas said that he would teach me a lesson that night, but actually he worked overtime until midnight. In the end, he didn't even have time to go home and just slept with me in the office. He said that there was a chance for an omega to mutate into an alpha, but when I smelled the pheromones he occasionally emitted, I still thought they smelled very nice. Maybe he was still looking for a way to mutate? Lucas thought I was too idle and was afraid that I would waste my time playing, so he forcibly arranged some work for me. So I sat opposite him in the office every day, each with a computer. The atmosphere was quite harmonious. 2 more international meetings were held today and they ended relatively early. Lucas said while organizing the documents, "Go back and change your clothes. I'll take you out for a meal today. Probably it's to reward me for my hard work in the past month." He drove the car and I sat in the back seat, laughing out loud while playing with my phone. Lucas said helplessly, "Andrew, sit in the front passenger seat next time." Me, why? Does sitting in the back seat hurt your pride? Does it make you feel like you're a driver? What a fragile heart. Can't even stand someone sitting in the back seat? This damned boss just loves this kind of useless formalism. Lucas, no. Your laughter is too harsh. It'll be more convenient for me to slap you if you sit in the front passenger seat. Me, is that human speech? Am I not even allowed to laugh? How could I have thought that he had a crush on me before? I must have been completely blind. We didn't get to have the meal, because Lucas seems to have entered the mating season. When I pushed open his door after changing my clothes, the strong smell of red wine inside was almost intoxicating. He was half reclined on the headboard and his bangs were damp with sweat. When he saw me come in, he brushed aside the hair blocking his view. His lips were a bit pale, showing a hint of fragility. Different from the paleness of his lips, his cheeks were red. The rosy color rushed up and the tips of his ears seemed to be dripping blood. Hidden among his black hair were 2 twitching rabbit ears. He looked so pitiful. I hesitated and took 2 steps closer. "Well, how about I give you a temporary mark again?" Lucas stared at me with a terrifying lust in his eyes. I always felt that he was a bit different from the last time he was in heat. Last time he was a soft little white rabbit, but this time he was like a lone wolf full of aggression. Lucas suppressed his gasps and what he said really shocked me. "Temporary marking won't work. I've mutated into an alpha." My pupils dilated in shock and I quickly covered my butt. That. "I can't help you. I'll go out and buy you an inhibitor. Just wait a little longer. If you really can't hold it in, you can use your hand first." Hearing my words, Lucas gave a faint smile. His voice hoarse, with red, rimmed eyes, he asked slowly, "Andrew, don't you think it's a bit too late for you to run away now?" Before I could understand the meaning behind his words, I was already knocked down by him. The scorching male body pressed on me, making me feel like I was about to burn up. I reached out to push him away. "Lucas, calm down. We're both men and we're both alphas. There won't be any result between us. Lucas, if it's you, I'm willing even if there's no result." Oh no, he's completely driven by lust. Look at what he's saying. People who don't know might think he's been secretly in love with me for years. I crawled forward miserably, clutching the bedsheet, trying to slip away. As a result, he grabbed me around the waist and pulled me back. "Andrew, weren't you so arrogant when you were on top of me? Why are you running away now? Why can't you even stand it before I've even started to bully you? It is said that there is also a nodding setting in the ABO world. How about we try it tonight?" After he transformed into an alpha, he was so strong that I couldn't break free. He leaned over and kissed my nape, saying tenderly, "Baby, do you want it from the front, from the back, or both?" "I don't want any of them." I struggled hard like a drowning fish. I used all my strength but still couldn't escape. And the hot thing was already pressing against my lower back. I really cried. I really wasn't ready to be gay. But under the influence of Lucas' pheromones, my body also started to heat up and there were even faint signs of entering the heat period. Lucas sensed the pheromones I was emitting. He turned me around and kissed my lips, saying affectionately, "Baby, so sweet." I was caught off guard by his kiss and the nausea and disgust I had expected didn't appear at all. Even in the entanglement of pheromones, his lips were like the sweet rain that saved me in the desert. It seems, don't resist his approach. Even, I kind of like it. Lucas finally managed to control himself. Even though he was so aroused that his eyes were red and the veins on his forehead were bulging, he still let me go. That passionate kiss finally landed only on my forehead. He said, "Andrew, I'll wait for the day when you're truly willing." I was stunned for a moment, then quickly got out of bed and went to buy him inhibitors. The clerk thought it was for me and gently reminded me, "I suggest you communicate more with your partner. Using inhibitors for a long time isn't a good thing." I thanked the clerk, thought for a moment, and bought a few more. I'll take them back and stockpile them. Next time, I'll inject them in advance so as not to lose my mind again due to the suppression. When I got home, Lucas was lying in bed and had fallen into a coma. I quickly disinfected and injected him. After a while, I gave myself an injection too. Although I'm very reluctant to admit it, just now I did enter the heat period early because of Lucas. I looked at Lucas' pale face, tidied up his messy hair, and there was actually a slight stabbing pain in my heart, like being pricked by a needle. Relying on his strength advantage, he could have forced himself on me, just like I forcibly marked him at the beginning. Only those who have experienced it can understand how unbearable the heat period is. It's like having a fire burning all over the body. But Lucas chose to endure it in order not to hurt me. Does he really like me? Because the inhibitor was injected too late, Lucas' condition didn't improve completely. He had a low-grade fever. The company won't stop operating just because he's sick. He still has to deal with a lot of documents and attend many meetings every day. I felt guilty and tried my best to share the workload with him. Lucas saw it and the smile in his eyes deepened. Andrew, you don't need to feel guilty. What happened that night was me forcing you unilaterally. I'm sorry. I gave him a glare. Shut up. My mind was already in a mess and he just kept talking. He took a sip of water and his lips were moistened, glistening with a layer of water. Lucas' lips? They look so kissable. I didn't dare to look any longer and pretended nothing had happened as I walked away. A low laugh from the man came from behind me. I was very distressed. Because now, even without the interference of Lucas' pheromones, I would get aroused. This kind of arousal is irregular in time and place. I made a bitter face and didn't dare to get close to Lucas anymore. Coupled with my anger at Lucas' ambiguous attitude. During his third heat, I didn't give him the inhibitor right away. He wasn't angry either. He just looked at me helplessly and indulgently. I hummed twice and held up the inhibitor in my hand. Did you drop this golden inhibitor or the silver one? Lucas, the one I dropped is you, the inhibitor. Can you stop being so vulgar? We've been like this throughout the whole thing. The world of ABO is really annoying. It's either in heat or on the way to being in heat all day long. Seeing that I was angry, Lucas put his fist to his lips to hold back his laughter with curved eyes. Andrew, don't be angry. I don't want to fight with you. I blurted out, do you want to fight in bed? Lucas pursed his lips and the laughter he had held back for a long time finally spilled out from the corner of his mouth. Yes. Realizing what I said, I wished I could slap myself twice. Why am I so stupid? Why do I always respond to anything? Lucas wiggled his bunny ears and made a pitiful pleading gesture. Andrew, would you like to be with me? I was caught off guard. When he said such a straightforward thing, I just stood there stunned. Although during this period I realized that my feelings for Lucas were not right and his feelings for me were also not right. But when it really came to facing it, I was still at a loss. Lucas changed his usual cold demeanor and actively offered his ears to my hand. Baby, don't you like fluffy things? Now I'm also fluffy. What a contrast, so cute. I made up my mind and took a leap of faith. It's just liking a man. What's there to be afraid of admitting? Existence is reasonable. I like him and he likes me. Once it's out in the open, everyone will be happy. I cleared my throat. Well, it's okay to be together. But I have to be on top. Lucas was stunned for a moment, but only for an instant, and then he started laughing again. Sure, I'll follow your wishes. The next day, I supported my almost broken old waist and grumbled angrily. That brute, Lucas, tossed me around all night. Clearly, we agreed that I would be on top. But when it really came to it, he smiled wickedly. Baby, you only said you wanted to be on top, and I did let you be on top. I was indeed on top, except that he was inside and I was outside. Damn it, he even quibbled with me over words. I rested all morning, and in the afternoon I still had to go to his company to work like a slave, full of grievances. Secretary Henry saw me, smelled the scent that Lucas had forcefully left on me, turned pale, and ran away crying. I was utterly confused. What, can't you stand it? You didn't see what he did to me last night. Different from my listlessness, Lucas was in high spirits and held more than a dozen meetings in a row. He said, baby, wait for me. I'll finish dealing with these days' affairs and take you on a honeymoon. I mumbled, honeymoon? It's as if we've got married. Lucas, I'll handle it right away. We'll go to get the marriage certificate later. I made an appointment this morning. The marriage certificate in the ABO world is not much different from that in the real world, but I still found it novel. I got married to Lucas. It was a wonderful experience. A few months ago, I was at odds with him. Whenever we met, we either quarreled or fought. A few months later, we slept in the same bed and expressed our love to each other. I asked Lucas when he fell in love with me, but he didn't say. But I always felt that he had planned this for a long time. Well, as soon as it got dark, he transformed into rabbit ears again to seduce me. I tried to act cold mainly because I really couldn't take it anymore. It said online that rabbit orcs have short. But Lucas really satisfied me completely. Is he some kind of mutant rabbit? As a result, before I even thought for 3 seconds, I was completely lost in his pheromones. I took a bite of his shoulder and showed a lecherous smile. Dude, you smell so good. They lived shamelessly for some time. One day when I opened my eyes again, I saw the familiar bed curtain above my head. I got a shock and sat up abruptly. At the same time, there was also a noise from another bed. I poked my head out and met Lucas's gaze, then I breathed a sigh of relief. Are we back? Lucas gave a soft then took a long stride and directly stepped onto my bed from his. It was still dark outside. I glanced at the date. It turned out that only half a day had passed since we entered the ABO world. Just as Lucas unlocked his phone screen, I'd noticed the novel on his phone. It was the same ABO novel that I had read. Could it be that our time travel was fake and we just read the same article and had similar dreams? Lucas bit my lips as if in punishment and asked, well, is it still fake now? I stared wide-eyed. The feeling was exactly the same as in the dream. Lucas was both angry and amused. Andrew, right after coming back, are you already thinking of abandoning me? Saying that, he took out 2 red booklets from his pocket. They were clearly the marriage certificates of him and me. I said, could this be brought back too? Lucas closed his eyes sleepily, hugged me and fell asleep. I don't know. It was already in my pocket when I just came back. I was also a bit sleepy, so I simply stopped thinking about it. I sniffed but didn't smell the red wine scent on Lucas, so I asked, without pheromones, will you still love me? Lucas held me even tighter and kissed my lips. Baby, you have a sweet smell. Finally, he said in a tender and gentle tone, baby, you're like a strawberry milk candy. It's so sweet, sweet right to the bottom of my heart. Extra, Lucas. Lucas and Andrew are childhood friends. When they were kids, they had a really good relationship, almost as close as can be. As they grew older, they went to the same school and saw each other all the time. Andrew has a lively personality and likes to play all sorts of tricks. His academic performance isn't very good. When Emma and Chloe got together, they would look at their own son with a worried face. Do you think you will go astray in the future? Hearing this, the little Lucas, who already had a calm and steady temperament, said, Auntie, don't worry. I'll take good care of my little brother and won't let him go astray. So, whenever Andrew went out fooling around, Lucas would bring him back and make him sit in front of books to study. Andrew was not convinced and they often fought. Later, Andrew's academic performance improved. He understood knowledge thoroughly and fell in love with studying on his own. Lucas didn't need to watch over him all the time, but suddenly he felt a void in his heart. He was more mature than his peers and realized that he was different from other boys. When the boys in the class were talking about porn movies, he didn't pay any attention to the naked entanglement in them. All he could see was Andrew's red-eared face in front of him. He noticed the strange reaction in his body. After consulting books, he clearly realized for the first time that he seemed to be gay. After Lucas realized his special feelings for Andrew, in order not to affect him, he started to deliberately keep a distance from him. Andrew didn't understand why his close friend since childhood was suddenly teaching him that he needed to keep a distance when getting along with others. Andrew doesn't want to keep a distance from Lucas. He likes to play with him and wishes he could stay with him all day. In his opinion, Lucas's distancing and coldness are completely unreasonable. Do we have to keep a distance as we grow older? What nonsense. Both he and Lucas are men. There's no need to avoid each other just because of gender differences. What can't they do together? He attributes all this to Lucas not liking him anymore and not wanting to play with him. Judging from the other's cold attitude, he even seems to hate him a bit. How can Andrew stand it when his once close companion has become a cold block of ice? So he starts to pick fights everywhere. When Lucas stops having lunch with him, he tells Chloe, Auntie, Lucas is having a puppy love at school. When Lucas is on duty in the evening and refuses his help, he tells Chloe, Auntie, Lucas has a crush on a girl in the class again. He thinks I'm in the way when I'm around. Lucas is helpless with him, but he can't tell him that he is gay. He's afraid of scaring the other person away directly. The two of them got along awkwardly for several years. When Lucas finally graduated from high school and was ready to take a risk, he found that Andrew was completely angry and ignored him. Andrew said, Don't you like to act cold and arrogant? Then just keep acting like that. Anyway, you're not my only friend. I have plenty of friends. The courage Lucas finally summoned was stifled by just a few words and he backed down again. He is always decisive in everything he does, but he hesitates and is cautious when it comes to loving Andrew. But love is just like this without any reason. He didn't want to make Andrew feel embarrassed, nor did he want to trouble him because of his own affairs. Compared to having Andrew hate him after knowing he was gay, it would be better for Andrew to think he was cold. In this way, at least when Andrew disliked him, he would still be willing to have an argument with him. But one day when he woke up, he and Andrew suddenly traveled into an ABO world. He was still an Omega. Good news, both of them were in heat. Bad news, Andrew wanted to overpower him. Lucas knew he was just out of revenge, not because he liked him. Although he felt uncomfortable all over when being overpowered, he didn't struggle too much. If he could really be with Andrew, it would actually be okay to be an Omega for love. He thought so. That night, because of his physical condition, Andrew kept whining and clinging to him. Lucas was secretly happy but was also afraid that he couldn't resist the temptation and do something excessive. So he pretended to be cold and told the other not to push his luck. The next day, he arranged Andrew to a branch company he seldom went to, also wanting to calm down for a while. Unexpectedly, just as he calmed down, Andrew was harassed by someone at the branch company. When Lucas rushed there, seeing Andrew with his clothes half open, for a moment he even wanted to kill that lecher. The person he held dear and dared not touch was almost forced into a relationship by someone. Lucas realized the danger of this ABO world and kept Andrew by his side all the time. He even wanted Andrew to be under his nose when sleeping. Because they were in a different world, he and Andrew got along harmoniously for a rare time. Until he entered the heat period again. Before Lucas mutated into an alpha, he didn't expect that an alpha's heat would be so overwhelming to one's rationality. If he had known, he would have bought inhibitors in advance. That day, although he managed to stop himself in the end, he must have scared Andrew and he felt extremely guilty. Strangely enough, Andrew's attitude towards him seemed to have changed. Lucas recalled his feelings for Andrew in the past few months and rubbed his forehead. It seemed a bit obvious. Did Andrew notice it? He was on tenterhooks for a few days and found that the other party didn't show any disgust towards him, so he became even bolder. Once again, taking advantage of his heat, he confessed his love to the other party straightforwardly. Andrew was stunned for a moment, but fortunately he finally gave a positive response. Lucas got a taste of it and couldn't stop, making Andrew suffer a great deal. In a blink of an eye, they were transported back. The first thing Andrew thought about was, without pheromones, would he still love him? How could one not love someone they've been smitten with since childhood? Wait, it seems that Andrew is reading his diary. Lucas, are you crazy? Couldn't you have said you liked me earlier? I'm going to tell Auntie that you gave me the cold shoulder for 5 years. 5 years. Lucas quickly comforted him. Baby, you're a sweet strawberry cake. You can't scream like this. Andrew, whether I'm a strawberry cake or a strawberry bomb, take your life.